co-organizer of National Cocoaheads. We'd love for you guys to connect with us if you're a first-time person. Obviously, you found us on Meetup, but if you can do, we also have a Slack that we do because it's nice and quiet and very welcoming and a great place to ask any questions about macOS, iOS, and all things Apple development. So you can, if you saw the slides going by, there's you can Slack in, I think, or you can get an invite from me. Just let me know after the meetup. Also, we're on Twitter at Nash Cocoaheads. I think that's right. We'll play the slides again after the this. All right. So without further ado, this is Jennifer Bennett from Lunar Lincoln. We'll do it live. Talk, and here we go.
Yeah. So hi, I'm Jennifer Bennett. I am the co-owner, lead product designer, wear all the hats at Lunar Lincoln, which is a native mobile development shop here in Nashville. And so I've been to a ton of Cocoaheads talks, and we've done all sorts of detailed stuff, like reactive Cocoa and like very vague stuff. But we've never talked about like all the stuff you need to do before you actually open Xcode and start coding. I mean, you can totally do that, but this makes it run a lot better. So let me actually put my slides up here. We A-B TV conference. And I'm actually gonna have this like in edit mode because we're gonna type in there. Oh, it doesn't show everything.
Aspect ratio change.
Okay.
The recording stuff.
I'm doing it live. So we're doing it live as a reference to an early Bill O'Reilly clip where he gets really pissed off because he doesn't know what's happening. He yells at everyone and it's like, we're just gonna go with it. Which is what we're gonna do today. I kind of hate when you go to talk and like it's beautiful and you like come out of it and you're super inspired and you're like, yes. And then you go home and you try to do it and you're like, I don't actually know how to do it for my project. So today we're kind of going to walk through everything in real life. Nothing's packaged up pretty and ready to go with all the like tricky bits hidden away. Yeah.
Can I start the recording again?
Oh, whoa. Oh wait, that's the old one.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yeah.
I'm really not to take pictures. I don't want to.
Yeah, go for it.
I asked before.
And at the, this is not what I want. At the end, I have links to like, this will all go up online so you can pull it back down. And I'll probably tidy it up and put some more details in it that we won't have time to do today. So yeah, all that stuff. Okay, so we have a little Abraham Lincoln quote that we like to say at Lunar Lincoln that's like, I'm not sure if he actually said this. Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree and I'll spend the first 4 sharpening the axe. Thinking about how you're going to approach things before you actually get started. So why should you bother to do all of this? Why don't you get to the good part, the fun part, the coding part? A couple of reasons, and you might already know if you have a whole folder of discarded projects that you started, you got like halfway through, and then you never went back to because you got to a hard spot. So understanding the scope of the project, exactly, not just it's going to do a couple things, but how long is that going to take? Preventing rework, getting halfway through and then realizing, oh, hey, I need to do this a little bit differently. To like take out a bunch of code or refactor it. This way you can write tighter, cleaner code to start with. Better usability. You're not kind of shoehorning things in after the fact. And then also give you a clear perspective and really understanding how long it's going to take you to finish it, and is this the kind of project that you can devote time to right now? And that applies to personal projects, or projects at work, or freelance projects where you're having to put a price on something and you're not really sure. Yeah. So, doing it live, getting started. Ideas. So, what makes a good idea? Really, it can be anything if it's a personal project. But a good idea if you're going to put it on the store for others and have people download it and use it more than once is it solves a problem or it accomplishes a task, which are kind of the same thing. Or it can be just for fun. So today I would love to go around the room and write down some ideas that people have. We will pick a couple that are achievable in this session and vote on them. So
lots of ideas.
I got one.
Okay.
It's an app where you can split your bill with someone else.
Okay.
So like, if I want to get Netflix
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to pay the full price, then we'll find me a partner and I will pay $7 and they'll pay $7. That'll be $14 for the Netflix.
Yeah.
And there's like and when you log into the app or website, like Netflix websites, embed it.
Oh, so it's like kind of like a browser plugin that automatically just does it.
Yeah. So every bill, so Netflix, Spotify, it just splits it.
It's cool.
You split the price.
And we're not worried about getting sued.
They say crazy
This
ideas.
could be good.
They say crazy
It's
ideas.
for kittens, like
Yeah.
whatever you
I'm
want to do.
sorry we didn't mean it.
What's funny is if you go to NSS, their UX program picks something very similar to this to make everyone do as an intro because it has a lot of good, meaty, weird edge cases that are important to deal with. So, yeah. Any other ideas?
So our idea was basically you load the main model of your car into the app. It would be an AR app to where it would provide a guide on how to fix certain parts of your car. So you should show this is the next step.
Yeah.
Highlight where you'll be fixing your car.
VR car repair. Oh, AR. Yeah, you're right. That's more useful. Maybe that other one I would take my.
Take the goggles off a lot.
Yeah, I had to take my headlight off to figure out how to get back in there. So, any other ideas?
I have an idea for an AI augmented reality.
Mm-hmm.
Is it trash? Is it recyclable?
Yeah.
Oh, smart.
Yeah.
Whenever I go to San Francisco, I get like crazy anxiety about throwing stuff away because I have like 12 trash cans and I'm like, compost, other kind of compost. Okay. Any others?
I got a really dumb one. It's kind of a social media based application that takes advantage of NFC. I call it Kisser. In order to like share your contact information with someone, you have to make your phone kiss someone else's phone.
Okay.
There would be no.
You got the okay.
I think that's spelled with kisser would be spelled without the e though, right?
Correct, you got it.
Okay. Any more? One more, and then maybe we'll vote on which one we want to be the one we work on today. Any other ideas? Okay, we're gonna add mine, which is gonna be Uber for kittens. You make a request, and then a car arrives with kittens in it, and you can put it in it. Actually, Humane Association did something like this, like 5 years ago in Nashville. They all like sold out like instantaneously. I did not get one, but it's better they never did it again. Okay, so show of hands. Who wants to see us do bill split today?
I like the other ones more.
Okay. Oh, okay, who wants to see AR car repair?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, car. Yeah. That was a bunch. I'm just gonna say like AR recycling? 4, okay. I don't think we had a discussion about whether you can vote or not, but going for it. Kiss NFC. Uber for kids. Okay, yeah, the AR car repair one. I like this one. I actually have a vintage Studebaker, and I would like that sometimes.
You can shoot it.
Do what?
Yeah, shoot it.
Yes, a 1955 Studebaker Champion.
Word.
So, yeah, it is broken right down to the runs. Okay, so this session's idea will be AR car repair. So some questions to think about when you first get started, because this can kind of help focus in on what you're doing, especially for initial launch, so you're not trying to like get to too many people at once. You can just focus on one audience, spend all your time on them. So who is going to be the main group of people that we're focusing on to begin with?
People who know how to work on cars.
Car
Well, yeah,
enthusiasts.
I would say you don't know how to.
Classic cars versus like.
Yeah, I mean that's a whole new thing because like working on new cars is like you have special tools and stuff. Okay, car enthusiasts. Okay, I'm gonna say ages like 20 to 60. You want to like focus on younger people since it's AR maybe.
Yeah.
Might be a little scary barrier to entry. Be generous and sound like. Okay, car enthusiasts 20 to 40. and decide whether we want this to be newer models or classic cars.
Let's do classic.
Okay, I don't mean to like sway you guys. Okay, so what is the goal of the app? Like, what would we say would be a successful experience?
Fix the car.
You fix your car. But can we be a little bit more specific? Like, is it going to be like
Like you
fixing
say,
engines?
before and after, say how well on average folks to fix their car without the app and how
Yeah.
they improve.
Okay, so faster repair times. Okay. And we're gonna focus on mechanical stuff as opposed to like body work, maybe. And then how does it work? So we're about to dive into like, how does this work?
Faster repair times, can we say successful repairs? 'Cause
Yeah.
I think percentage of successfully repairing.
Oh, totally. We put it back together and then you're like, this still doesn't work. My battery is still dead. Okay, great. Okay, so this is good. This dials it in. Like, we know we're not gonna focus on body work. We're not gonna focus on Formula 1 racing. We're just going to do AR for classic car mechanical repairs. We can even focus it further and say like, let's try 5 Chevys.
So like, let's just use case right here, log in, point.
You're getting, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there.
Okay,
Okay,
okay.
let me talk a little bit more before we get into that part. So, what are we gonna do today? This is kind of high level. You have the idea, then you kind of make, does anyone ever use Jira? You make stuff at the epic level, like the big categories. So like we're gonna have maybe login or pairing with your device or instructions and big scale things like that. Then we're gonna have detailed stuff like how exactly does the AR work. Then we're gonna say what that actually looks like. And we're gonna make what that looks like look nice or nicer. And then we're gonna make that interactive so you can show it to people and they can say, this makes sense, or I'm totally lost, or actually this is a big huge pain in the ass to use. And you go back and you fix it. Without writing any code, without having to delete anything, or start again, you can do it much faster when you're at this level than you can later. And if we added code in here, it would be even slower. So, let's start at the high level. Let me sit down. What is going to be in this app? And when I'm deciding what I want to do, I like to start like a brand new user I just downloaded from the App Store. How would I move all the way through this app? So for this app, do we need like user accounts for this? We want to
say half of the minimum.
Not really. So we don't really need user or authentication or anything like that. So we're going to drop the user straight in, maybe the main interface. And then what's going to be in that main interface? Like how would we start?
Car selection.
Car selection. Do what?
Would you be able to take a picture of the car and like the app automatically knows?
Yeah, so digging into car selection, like there's so much. Okay, let me.
Well, if it's AR, you don't have to take a picture.
Yeah. Okay. So car selection, yeah. So do we want to have it be like take a photo and it just recognizes it, like machine learning? Can it be just like you do with it, like a typical site, like you put in the like
I think it's
year, make, model?
Scan it in.
Yeah.
So obviously when you do this, the first time through, a lot of times you want to do that like dream version that you're like, yeah, this looks so amazing. But then reality hits and you slice it back and you're like, what do I need just to get this out the door so that it works? So I can decide if people actually like it. So it kind of hurts. We have to be like, okay, what's the most basic? Probably some drop-down pickers or something. Your make model, then maybe, okay, you have your car selected, but now we need to cover your issue. This is not indenting right, but.
Shift tab.
Okay. So maybe the issue that you're trying to fix. So maybe you pick an area like engine, or suspension, or
Brakes.
electrical, things like that. And then maybe some common issues, because obviously you're going to have to populate this app with content, and you're not going to be able to populate it with everything under the moon. So maybe you want to be like top 3 issues for each category that most people have issues with and go online. You could do some research like what are popular YouTube videos that people look up for this?
Yeah. So I watched one on replacing headlights just last week.
Yeah, like my left headlight goes out all the freaking time, and so I have to like get on YouTube and be like, how do I get this out so I can change the
I did
bulb?
that. It took me 2 hours.
So I never remember.
Yeah.
Each time, even though I do it all the time. So maybe we have all the issues, maybe a category, and then common issues. Redo this. Okay, so you've picked your common issue. You're like, yes, I need help with the fan engine, and a common issue is the fan belt. And then, so we're ready to go. We have a little module that's going to give you help with squeaky fan belt for your car model. So now we want to get into the actual AR part. So what do we need next?
We need access to the camera.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I have this slide next. It's like all the gotchas. So camera permission. And then maybe we need some instructions
Yeah.
on where to place like your viewing area so you can point things out. And then maybe like a start the walkthrough. It's gonna be like more like a walkthrough. Or how are you guys, original idea people? You're like sitting back there silently being like, yes.
I know you start small. I mean, it's kind of what I had in mind.
Okay.
It's kind of meant for a lower income people to save some money. So
Yeah.
it might be full of some smaller in-app purchases for like $2 for like a big one.
Yeah.
This thing. Maybe somewhere you can listen to a sound in the car.
Okay.
To diagnose,
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, so AR would be like a walkthrough. You have other good ideas that we could put in here that would be like manuals, QA maybe, like a forum where you're like, this didn't work. Diagnose with sound library. There's a company in town doing something like this for an AC riveter that I've worked with. It's less exciting, but it's the same thing. So all of these can be areas. Obviously with version 1, you have to go through and decide, what am I gonna accomplish with this? It might be that manuals, like the forum comes later and the sound library comes later, but manuals are something easy you can put in here. There are already PDFs online of all of this. And maybe the forum is like a sweet, like BBPress web app that just links to the web. Okay, so we have like a pretty good feature list here. And some of these maybe we can have in here for now, and maybe later we pull out because we decide it's going to take too long, or we discover there's a really easy solution for this, so let's go ahead and include it. Okay. So we have some good stuff in here. Next, so once I've got everything in there, I feel pretty good about what the flow is going to be. Then we go in and do, what do we actually miss? What's all the weird edge-based stuff in an app that you get pissed off because you get stuck? Like you're going through.
It's got to be the right phone. Like,
do what?
I have an iPhone 6. I don't think it's compatible.
So you're gonna have to have an error modal if it's the wrong device. You don't have the right chip. You might need an error modal if your camera is too shaky or something. You can't figure out what's going on.
AR typically needs a lot of light, and it seems like you're always working on the car and it's dark.
Yes.
Oh, so for the engine, can it work for the engine? It's kind of dark in there.
Well,
That's
that's,
connection.
that would be.
It's the question of are you doing it in your garage or in your, like it may have to have advice like you're gonna need to do this outside.
Like under the car.
Or make sure
Yeah.
you put a light, whatever you
Oh, yeah.
Or you could turn on the flash.
Make that an option, turn on the
So,
side.
Maybe not having every model of vehicle.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds like a fancy European
Yeah,
car.
like a screen for, we don't have your model yet, but.
I think for this we would just need camera, and then we would maybe need a microphone if we were doing sound diagnosing. And depending on if you're doing iOS or Android, sometimes you don't have to ask for this. Anything else? Since we're not having accounts, we don't need like destructive actions, like stuff a user can do that will maybe be really annoying, like, oh, I accidentally pressed the log out button and just like bugged out. Like, I would appreciate it if they'd ask me again before they make me type in a bunch of
So
stuff.
how does the user work and hold the phone at the same time?
Yeah. So maybe on this you want to think about landscape mode and doing things with auto layout so we can size, or do you want this for iPad? I would guess.
Or does it start and stop? Almost like a movie where you
could have it like play over it and then pause it and then try to do it.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
you're not. I guess what I'm saying is it's not necessarily like turning the AR on all the time, because then you're just sitting there with
Yeah.
trying to hold a camera up.
Yeah.
Maybe it captures, plays an animation,
Yeah.
or whatever.
No, I think that's, yeah, you would want to be able to pause and restart or something. Or have something.
Yeah,
Put it
and maybe screen always on.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Maybe some data systems so you can get everyone.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's what I was apparently trying to say.
I'm like thinking from a UI perspective, I'm like, what is a UI? And you're like, we gotta maintain it. Okay. Great. And for something like this with AR, it's still kind of new and weird. So you're probably gonna need some sort of like coaching, even though it feels kind of gross, overlays to like show the first time what you're supposed to do here. Which sucks because people usually use them once, but they take a lot of time to put in, but they're really important for people to not download the app, immediately get frustrated, and close it. So putting your time into stuff people use once.
And then, kind of along that same line is some sort of analytics on the app itself, so that you can begin to understand where it makes sense to invest for the next release. Because there could be certain aspects of the app that are overused that you should always delete right away.
Yeah.
Yeah. You might find that everyone is using the forum and no one's actually using the AR, and you're like, so sometimes you have to make a weird pivot. Okay, cool. So we have some high-level areas: car selection, issue, AR, some extra support elements like manuals or Q&A didn't work. Q&A you maybe have post photos. If you like my wiring is jacked, or I forgot how to store back together, which is what happened to me. So now we're gonna make some terrible drawings. I am really bad at this part, but it helps you kind of not have to look at that empty canvas in your actual design program and be like, oh, I don't know where to start, because this is much faster and it gives you a little place to start with. So, okay, we're not gonna have a login or anything, so we first go in the app, we have a nice little nav bar. What are we calling our app? Just maybe car. That's terrible.
I was thinking the exact same thing. CR, take it down.
Color fix with no I. Something terrible like that. Don't take letters out of your stuff because Google Juice is so bad no one will ever find your app. So, car fix. Main screen. What did we say we were going to do?
Make a model.
We are going to do figure out the car we're going to work. So probably some drop downs.
Yeah.
We just can't photo. Candidates. Maybe have some like. I guess it's going to be some sort of either type to autocomplete or picker. Depends on how long the list is. So.
They're not that long.
You can kind of narrow it down as you go.
You may make them all different. Type. Yeah, you can narrow it down. Picker. So we're gonna have this, maybe we'll have a big button that's like, find the issues. Don't ever make buttons that just say next. Like next what? Like what's gonna happen next? You wanna say in the button like, what's gonna happen after I press this? Be descriptive. So they don't feel lost and they're not like nervous to press it.
Jen, how did you just kind of elected a picker?
Yeah.
What made you decide that as you were just mulling that over just now?
When I think about your data and how much it can vary, if it needs to vary, all of these are like known lists. Like you know there's only so many cars that are ever made models. There are only so many models of that. So you can just have those lists. You're not gonna have to worry that someone types sandwiches and they actually mean panini. It's not a fuzzy list. So something like that, and it's not like 1 through 1 billion, which would be terrible to scroll through. So I think that's a good way. It doesn't require keyboard typing. It's a good way to like put known quantity. Plus, you guys may not have stuff for every model. So maybe you don't want in your picker list to include, I don't know, DeLoreans. You don't have any content for that, so you're not going to have any list. That way you can control what the user's doing better.
Great.
Okay, so we have our car, and then what do we have next? Okay, I said find my issues, so obviously next would be
Issue selection.
issues. And we already kind of said we were going to do categories. And then you could probably dress this up and have it be buttons if you had maybe less. Or you could have tags, or you could have, again, another list.
So would this drop directly into the types of issues, or would we still, are you thinking this would still say categories?
It really depends on how rich your library is. So maybe for your MVP, you just have a list of what you have content for, because you only have 10 things in there.
Yeah.
And you may need to go back in once you add 50 things and change what your UI is to make it easier for the user.
Gotcha.
So for now, you may just have pictures of the issue or of the area or a list. And then receive instructions and the spelling receive. And then we're ready. So then we're going to do what comes next. Camera permission. Okay. No. And if they say no, you have to be like, no, but really.
Well, if they
I mean,
say,
you can take in settings, be nice like that, even though it's extra work, just do it. And then maybe we have a view, get into the good stuff, the overlay, here's your car, here's your engine. My radiator. Okay. So we maybe have some overlay instructions here, maybe some little pointers or like tooltips they can point on that say what they need to do. And maybe we have up here like a list view that they can go to that just lists out the steps. You know, like Google Maps. You have the drawing and then you have the steps. See, we're already enjoying this, starting to realize like, hey, this needs more detail. Start walkthrough. Like, okay. But then when you draw it in, you're like, well, what goes in that? Also, a really good thing to do if you get stuck and you're like, I don't really know, but I don't feel like this is enough, is, this sounds strange, but I like to go to Pinterest. And wait, I'm gonna show you because it's not like it's gonna be like knitting patterns.
Surprised it's not a Pinterest for car repair.
Yeah. Oh, there totally is. But maybe just see what other people do and what they have in here. So look, like there's all sorts of stuff out there, and like we can. This will click through to like here's somebody's mock-up app, and a lot of times you'll find that they're like way too idealized. This goes to some flight app. That's not a car. Anyways, you can look through here to get inspiration or get your wheels flowing. Here's the Tesla layout. Maybe what you're missing or what you're doing. Look at this one has little buttons. Right, your fake car. So that's a good place to go if you're like, I'm not sure what to put in here or how to lay it out or what I should do next. What that should it be a picker or a button or a tag cloud? So wait, okay, going back. What else do we have on our list? Oh, so okay, maybe this walkthrough has stuff that has little overlays that like point to the area that we need to be working on next. And then we have other parts of the app. So we've just been doing kind of the main flow, but there are other parts. We have manuals, we have a forum, maybe diagnose with sound. We have to decide, do we want those to be kind of up in a menu, or do you want them to be a tab bar, which is like your main navigation decision every time, forever. Do you have enough, like little enough features that they can fit up in the top? Do you have enough that there are are 5 across the bottom and people frequently access them? Or is it something that people might go to every once in a while, but not very often, so we're gonna stick them in the
What's in the menu?
scary basement? So, manuals, forum, sound diagnosis. You're probably gonna want like some sort of settings. So you can put all your third-party
I
library
feel like
permissions.
with AR apps, you always want to see as much of the screen as possible. So
Good point.
I would think that a tab bar would be
Yeah.
obtrusive.
Yes.
Also
Yeah.
hide it that way.
Do it.
Also hide it.
How could I have the tab bar? And then I say that, and I'm also going to play devil's advocate and say I was the guy that was like, but it should play and pause, and so you're always going to have some sort of control on the screen as well, right?
Yeah.
Make it transparent.
Yeah, you can make it transparent, but then you have like a lot of visual stuff competing down at the bottom. I would agree in this in that I don't think you're going to be going back and forth between the manual and your AR section over and over, or between your forum and your AR section over and over. You're not going to be switching back and forth. I think you're going to be doing single tasks. So maybe it is better to go in a basement menu. And I do think that maybe you have some sort of utility bar, but it isn't like a tab bar that goes to other screens in the app.
Right.
So we'll have a little hamburger friend can make it look like whatever, but people know what a hamburger is, so use it. And the manual and the forums and stuff are likely just going to be table list views. Yes, just kind of stuff, tap on them, it goes to the thing. Okay, so did we cover things? Initial flows, instructions. You might have here. This feels pretty directed, but here you may have an introductory flow. It's like a whole set that you get one time, or you can kick off to the settings screen. It's like, oh, I don't know how this works. I need some instructions. They're like a little thing here. I like to wait and do this at the very, very end of the project, because if I change anything, I don't have to go back to that flow and change the instructions. Very last thing, put that in. We have our navigation. We have our key area people are going to spend their most time in. And we have our detailed areas, which I didn't mock up for sake of time. So, I'm going to take some photos of this, and then we're going to put that in that slide. So, next, I have these little, I didn't make my, so we're going back and we're watching this guy. This is why you plan it out. You're gonna feel like that guy, and 3/4 of the way through, you're gonna feel like him. And then, okay, so fat link, because we're doing links here. So after every one of these sections, I have a page that has tools you can use. Prototyper.io will give you advice on what sort of features to come up with. Airtable is basically fancy Excel links, so you could write all your features, maybe your thoughts, maybe some photographs of your shitty drawings. That can all go in there. Balsamic is a wireframing tool that looks terrible on purpose so that your clients don't get attached to how it looks. They just talk about how it works. It looks really terrible. It's great. It gives you all these little pieces you just drop in. I need a table, I need a whatever. It's also free. And Keynote, you can actually use Apple Keynote to prototype things, and Apple has a bunch of WWDC talks about it. So next, we're going to take this and turn it into something we can use. And the program I have picked to talk about is Figma. If you talked to me about a year ago, it would have been like Sketch Forever, Sketch for Life, which is this program. But in the past year, Figma's made some really big strides. On top of that, it is free. It is platform agnostic because it's a web view, and they've really worked on the performance, so the web view isn't horrible. And you can collaborate with people. So I'm going to post a link, and everyone, if you had your laptops out, could go to it and we could all click around together. Although I've turned it off, so you can just look at it right now, so you can't mess up what we're working on. So this link, if you go to it anytime after this talk, is going to go to this document right here. And anyone can look at it. Right now you can see just me, just them looking at it. There's one from a UX talk I went to, and you can still see like 30 people are in it every once in a while. So, this is Figma. This is where we're going to do our wireframes. Here are some resources for Figma. You can download all sorts of, you see here, GUI kits that people have made for free. GUI stands for graphical user interface. And you can kind of take this stuff apart and see how it's made. So if you're ever like, I want to put in some sort of look here, like filter, and I'm not really sure, I'm going to download a bunch of these and look at how other people do it, and maybe use this and change the color and change what it's called. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to be a designer. You can use other people's designer stuff and make it your own with what you need. So, in here, currently I don't have a lot of stuff. I have material design and app and iOS one, which I have open right here. You can see it has everything. It looks familiar. Everything you could ever do in code, we have in here. So that mocking it up is just a matter of copy pasting and changing the text up. So it's not going to be, you don't have to make everything from scratch. It's not going to be overwhelming. So here's ours. We're going to put in a little canvas called frame. Over here we're going to do, let's do iPhone 10. So it'll put one in here. You see over here it makes like a little list of stuff. So I'm going to need some navigation. So let's put this guy in here. And you can see this guy has a little squares around him. That means he's a component, which means you can reuse him. So if you make a copy of him, if you make a copy of him and you change the original one, you change the original one, like we decide we want our background to be, I don't know, blue. Then it changes them everywhere in the whole document. So it's nice, you can keep all of your components in a little section and you decide wireframes, like it doesn't matter, but later you're like, I'm gonna make the nav be black and I'm gonna make the font be Montserrat, and you can just change it in one place, it's everywhere, you don't have to fiddle with it for 1,000 years. It's meant to like get out of the way and just let you work. Okay, so we have our thing, we have our title. So let's see, how am I doing our time? I got 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're doing great.
Can you use this in like Vision?
Yeah, so I'm going to show you something in a minute so that you don't ever even have to go to a vision. But you could, but you don't need to. So we're putting stuff together. We have maybe our make, model, year. So let's go see if there's anything that Applewood's a stock that would be good for this. Oh, look at this. Look at this little, that little table with the disclosure. I don't want this one with the pictures. Yeah, here we go. Something like this. Although disclosure shouldn't tell you that there's a picker, so you know that, because when you try to do it in iOS, it's going to tell you. Okay, here we are. So maybe put one of these in here. We'll put it up here. Put it in here. And we're going to have a couple. You can also do it so that if you have all of them, size, and also if they're set up properly, they will be, this one's not great. You can do constraints. Oh, does this look familiar? Very similar to auto layout. So if you set constraints on stuff, you can also resize, so you can make it look like how it's going to look on a 5, a 6S, a 10, a 9, and all of that good stuff. So we might have, this is going to be real messy, and later I'm going to make one that's totally done for you guys. So you have your guys in here, they look great. We're going to need a button. Let's just make a button. Push our button. Put some text inside. What did we say it's going to be? Let's do all caps. You can see over here you have some regular stuff. You're going to get centered. You want it to be like 24. Maybe we want, here's a secret that makes stuff look really nice. Character spacing. Make stuff look instantly fancy.
We should do white font.
What?
White font instead of black.
Oh yeah, we could do that. Now if you do a white font, this isn't white, but if you do white, I would say make it heavier because it might strain on your eyes a little bit. And also now I'm saying this is kind of too big. You want some nice space. So okay, we got this guy in here, and we want to make it so that he is out very middle, no matter what you do to our system. So you'll see over here we have these two guys. You hold shift and you can press G and group them, so now they're one thing. And if you go up here and do this, now it's a component. Let me move my component back up here. So now I can use this button anywhere and change the text, and it will act the same anywhere. So if I find my issue, and this one I want to say,
Receive instructions.
receive instructions. This is very stressful. I know, I didn't do my auto layout right, is what actually happened. Okay, well. So if we went up here and we changed our background, it would change on both of these. So.
For the people in the crowd that don't do this every day,
Yes.
Can you talk for a minute about how much you work up stuff in an app like Figma and how much you do in a wireframing app like the one you just showed? Is it Balsamic? Was that?
Yeah, Balsamic. So if something feels really squishy and you don't feel confident about what order things are going to go in, like if people are very up in the air about how they want the flow to work at all, I will do it in Balsamic first, and we can try a couple different things and show them to people and get feedback before we get to here. If it's something that feels like everyone in the universe agrees how ride-sharing works one way, everyone's happy with it, then I might go straight in here and start doing it as a wireframe and stitch it together, and then if we like it, then I will start applying design to it.
Gotcha.
What I'm missing in this talk is between every step, you should take this and show this to someone and get their feedback, and not have it be a friend or someone who knows about the project. It should be a random person who is in your target audience. So here's an example of how to put things in Figma. You can see over here it kind of puts everything in little groups. And so coming up next, okay, let's we got our categories. Let's do categories, and then we have maybe big picture, and in here we can even change this to be a picture. And we can pick let's do so Unsplash is free photos. They're free to use. They look nice and not terrible. So this is what I always choose to desktop. Yes. Have your overlay. Now, the thing you asked about Envision, the reason why I like using Figma and I think it's quicker than other design programs is because see up here where we have this tab called Design, that's where we've been working. That's where all of our little like editing things are, the layout, the colors, the fonts. We can also go into a thing called Prototype, where you will see you get these little handles. And the little handles, you can say, I'm going to click on this button, and when I click on this button, I want it to go to this screen. And when it goes to the screen, I want it to move in from the right, and I want it to go very slowly or very fast.
I think Sketch has that as a plugin.
It has it as a plugin, yes, a third-party plugin.
Yes.
So you can also do it in Sketch. You can also have like a Envision plugin for Sketch that does the same thing. I think since this is first party, sometimes it's nicer. It doesn't like break sometimes when there's new ones. But they both work that way. So maybe this one goes back here, and we want this one to be dissolved. So, okay, we've hooked these up. We go back and forth to each other. Move that guy. Okay, and you can see if you move these around. Let me open you another one. I'll show you something that's been fully hooked up. See, when you're done, it will look something like that. For all your buttons, go to all the places, and they work properly. Okay, so for now, we're going to press this little play button and see if our prototype worked. And you can embed this on a website, you can send it to anyone, you can send it to a client, you can even download a little Figma app and run it on your phone to see how it looks like on your phone. So now, if I click here, it goes back to the first screen. If I click this one, it slides over on that.
Toolbar up for a second.
Why isn't there? That's my question. Let's go back and see why.
Okay.
It's because it's not in the.
Yeah.
It's not in the. There we go. It's not on the canvas. Here, get on the canvas. Okay, now it's in here, so now it'll show up in here. There we go. So this is how you can stitch something together to show someone. It's also a great way to work with a client to make sure that you're both on the same page about what you're building, or to potentially take to an investor and say, hey, look, I have everything planned out. It is ready to be coded. Just give me that money. Or like you have an idea and you need to do a Kickstarter or something. Like it's a way to like validate your idea relatively quickly. So, getting back to what we're doing, these links go to sites that have all sorts of versions of things that you can take apart and stitch together and see how they're put together. This one's a whole thing of user flows. They have websites, all sorts of stuff in here. Now, I just showed you prototyping. It's a design program. It's also a prototyping program and a spec program. Change your mind without changing code, show people quickly, see how it feels. Sometimes you'll put something together and you're like, this is gonna be the best. And then when you get it on your phone, you carry it around for a couple days and you're like using it and you're like, actually this sucks and it's really hard to press where I put that button. And actually that button's too little. Or like, I need to make this scroll. Or I can never find the button because it's too far down the screen. All of those weird use cases you will find out by stitching together your wireframe and a prototype. And you won't have to go back and redo the code or rip out something. And design, you can go back in, some basic rules that you can apply to anything. Give things space. You don't have to cram it together. Make things line up neatly. Even space between, all the left, all the right. It's like the quickest, easiest way to make something look really professional, very minimal, without adding any design stuff. Only use 1 or 2 fonts. I have some links here from some tools that will help you. Here's some nice free icons that look good. Here's some nice free photos. Here's some nice free fonts. Here's a little stuff that Apple tells you to do. Okay, so we've made our list. We've made our rough designs. We've made our fancy designs. Not really, but I'm going to make these more fancy and you can see. And you can take them apart over here and click on every little element and see how they go together and copy them. And we put together a prototype and showed it to everyone and worked stuff out, and it's great. So, we're almost done. Now we're going to turn all of the things that we built into tasks or tickets. So that when you're actually coding, you can pull a ticket over. You've all seen Trello, or Jira, or Asana, or Basecamp, whatever sort of tool you want to use to like keep stuff straight, an Excel sheet. Write some tickets. Make them tiny, things that you can do in 1 to 4 hours. If you write a big old bucket like, do the database, it will take you a bunch of years and you will get lost and you will lose your passion for it. So write tickets that are short. Some good example tickets would be, let's see for what we have. A user can select a make. A user can select a model. A user can find issues to fix with their pre-selected make, model, and year. A user can get a permissions model. A user can blah, blah, blah. The user can is like something of value that the user can see, not something mysteriously hidden in the back. So providing little nuggets of value between 1 and 4 hours that you think it will take. And it's great at the end of the project if you like track time to it to look back and be like, was that really a 4-hour task or was that like a 16-hour task and I did not understand how complicated that was. That's also great if you're working for a company and they're like, you're gonna do this in a week, and then later you're like, guess what? This takes 3 weeks, and now I know.
We're still saying yes. process.
Mhm.
So they tell us 70% planning, 30% coding on
Yeah.
small projects.
Now, all of this, like this whole process usually takes me maybe a week, but like depending on how detailed you do it, like you can just spend a day doing it and you're saving yourself hours of issues once you've gotten like 3/4 of the way through the project. It'll seem easy at first because you're doing all the stuff you want to do. It will save you hours later and you will know where you went wrong and you will know where to pull up. So, at the end, you're done. Here's Tom Cook. He's excited for you. You have to hear this southern accent. Hi, it thrills. This guy is my favorite coding gift. And so now you know what you're building precisely, not like it's gonna overlay on some car pieces. You know how you're gonna build it. You maybe have some architecture you can be thinking about, your design, your structure and schema. You know it looks good and not like something weird that you're embarrassed to put in the app store. And you're ready to start. It's gonna flow like butter and be done in like a month instead of 4 weeks or weekends, depending on your project. Yeah. So I'm gonna have a copy of this talk here. I'm going to fix up this document so it's real. And you guys will be able to go in at any time and see it and click on it and use it and learn from that. And yeah, any other questions? You can find some of my work at this site or some of the work we did with again, it's a bunch of other stuff. We can say. Yeah, any questions on that process? Was that like way too high level? Or do I need to be more detailed?
Great stuff in there. One question I had, this is somewhat for Jen, somewhat for the group. Has anybody thought about how Swift UI will impact the design process?
Yeah, Swift UI is great. It's actually very similar. So one thing I didn't show you in here is that, okay, in this section, there's also, so you have design, you have prototyping, this is sticking together. You also have code, and you have iOS and Android code. So you can select a screen, and if you do all of that auto layout properly, it'll give you all of the different stuff for it. I think there are some companies coming out, they're purporting to be able to take stuff like this and immediately, like old school Fireworks Dreamweaver and make a thing. It's probably gonna be gross. But this is great to be like, exactly how big is that button, or what's the hex code for that? I don't know actually if this code is garbage.
It's garbage.
Well, also none of this is very precise. Like, this is 308 by 311. Weird. But
They're making a core animation layer instead of an image view.
But I think Travis could be saying, like, for prototyping, right? Like, Swift UI is kind of this promise of developers can rapidly iterate on design
isn't
and
it?
code.
Yeah.
Would you suggest, like, doing code at that point, or?
It depends. It depends on whether you're just doing it for yourself, or whether you're working with another team and you need to be able to get feedback from them quickly without them sitting right next to you. This is much more shareable amongst a lot of people. You're not having to provision anything or give people stuff to do. Like, you can just send this link to anyone in an email or a text and they can use it on their phone.
And this might be more of a comment than a question,
Yeah.
but I think it's rhetorical in the sense that I think that you're talking about the function of design.
Mm-hmm.
And the function of design is what the promise of Swift UI is, that the function of design can somewhat live in the function of engineering.
Yes.
When I mean the function, I mean now I'm starting to talk about the toolbox that we use to engineer. And so people are promising us that design can live in engineering. Mentally, though, I think a lot of times separating those two concerns is very powerful. Because when you're in the design box, when you're in the design car, let's say,
You're advocating for the user versus what's simplest.
yeah, or even worse, if you are like, I want to build an app, and then you're in the engineer car, you just get in and drive.
Don't worry about that later. We're driving.
Yeah, and then all the things that you just talked about planning and preparation and looking and wireframing and thinking about, you left out the window because you just started coding because you did the you're like, oh, I can code that up and make that work. And there's gratification and satisfaction in that. That's why a lot of people do this stuff. So.
Yeah, I definitely think Swift UI will change some of that. Back in the day, it used to be like people made designs in Photoshop, threw them over the wall, and were like, bye, do whatever you want with that, and stuff maybe wasn't the same. Things are coming together closer and closer, like you can see here with the prototype being interactive. There are all of these weird plugins that allow you to put live elements, rich elements, like actual maps, or actual avatars, or actual street addresses and stuff that are interactive. So they're coming closer and closer. Swift UI sounds amazing. It's only on the latest phone, so we have to wait a little while before it's actually applicable to your grandma and everyone else. So I don't know, we'll do this talk again in like 2 years. It might be a totally different topic. So
I feel like it might go the other way, where like you get into the code after the fact and fix some stuff.
Should designers code? Type that in Twitter, we'll see some fights. Some fights. Yeah, I don't know. I don't enjoy writing code because when something's broken, I can't make it what I want it to be. So, biased.
Another question I had, and this is I think for the group here, is iOS 13. There's changes in privacy. Do we know? Does anybody know? Or there's a lot of, I should say, change. Privacy is kind of a broad word, but I think you guys know what I'm driving at. Is that going to affect more design things in terms of like, are there more modals now that just have to get lit up?
Yeah, I think for permissions, not so much. We've had a lot of permissions that we need to code for a while now, especially location. It's very important to inform the user ahead of popping that. Like, here's really specifically what we're going to use it for. Apple doesn't give you a lot of flexibility on the actual system permission. So you find a lot of apps do like a pre-coaching screen that's like, here's what we're using it for, here's our explanation, now here's the official one. And if someone says no on that coaching screen, you don't pop the official one because you don't want them to say permanently no. Something that will change is all of the user authentication and making sure we're going to include Apple Auth if you're going to do Facebook and Google. But that's its own thing.
I have a Figma specific question.
Yeah.
Two questions. The first one is, I haven't actually used iOS 13 yet.
Yeah.
Cheating in the Android world.
This is 11 because 13 no one's made one yet.
What I was going to say is that like the segment and control UI changed. So how often do these sheets get updated?
So currently Apple puts out one for Sketch and Photoshop. And you can import Sketch documents into Figma pretty seamlessly. So the iOS 13 for Sketch has come out. I tried to import it into here, and Apple's new symbol library thing does not play nicely, and is a giant pain in the butt. So I'm just sticking with 12 and 11 because they're not that different. So I would say give it like 2 or 3 weeks, and someone will have made this thing.
I was playing around with Figma about 1.5 years ago, maybe a year ago, and I think iOS 12 or 11 had come out maybe a week before, and Facebook had already released them.
Yeah, Facebook, so these are Facebook's. Facebook has a team, Tihan and Max over there, who put out these every year, and they usually appear a week or 2 after. It just takes time for someone to screenshot the entire ecosystem and recreate it, like component by component. And there's still things that sometimes they don't make, so I have a bunch of different permutations of those. I give it a year, and I think Apple will start making these in Figma as well. I think it's becoming enough of a contender in the marketplace for there to be pieces of it.
When did they start doing Sketch?
Started doing Sketch 2 years ago, and it's built into, so you can see this is Sketch, and it looks very similar. Although Sketch is $99 to download, which is why I do not. But they have a whole library of bars, controls, bezels, systems, templates.
How does Figma make money then? It's free.
It's free for single-tier users. For teams, that's where it makes money. For teams, it costs money. And one thing that I like about Figma is that it has I'm trying to figure out anyways, there's a history section that reminds me a lot of like Git, the way it threads the changes to the document, so you can go back and look at the history.
You had another question?
Yeah.
Travis?
So just a really minor one. I was thinking like with Figma and like the prototyping tool, can you do animations that don't do the entire screen? Like if you wanted like a page view controller or something?
Yes, that's something different from Sketch. So if you just want like a little piece to slide over, you can do it like hovering. While hovering, you can have it do something. You can even have ones that don't go to other screens where it goes to like another element and switches out. I want to show you, there was a great talk at Nashville UX where one of their designers, I can't think of his name right now, recreated all of Tesla in Figma, and he has little pieces that hop over each other. So you'll see that slides up, that slides down. Yeah, you want to talk about how detailed this moves around.
He didn't get paid for that.
No, he did it just for fun, just to learn how to use Figma, and is a little OCD about it. But it's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
I can share the link to this because this is a public link, and everyone can look at this other talk. It was about how to use Figma. Here are all of his pieces.
Wow.
I didn't know that.
I just started using Figma like a month ago, so it's new for me too. But I think it's going to be good for other people to use since it's free and since you can get the code out of it and you can prototype on it. So, any other questions?
How much, because you run your own business and that, at what point do you kind of take a pause and say, okay, for me to continue forward, we're going to have to have signed a contract or a deal? Or
All of this is paid. So we.
So from day one, you just like, before I do anything, we're going to have.
I will quote what we call an ideation contract or design contract based on that really high epic level things with the main bullet points that we'll talk about. And so at the end of that process, they pay to do all of the feature stories. At the end, they get the source document, the prototypes, the user stories, the specs for it, and all of those estimates. So they're paying and getting something, and they can take that to anyone to get built. It will be apples to apples instead of like a bunch of people giving quotes based on something we said in a 15-minute phone call. So, yeah, I definitely get paid for all of that work. To do that for free. So, and I think you should too. You should put it as part of your process. Like it's great, and it makes your final product a lot stronger. And your client's on the same page as you the whole way along. You don't get to the end and present them the built thing, and they're like, "Oh, actually, I was thinking like this would call mechanics or something." I don't know.
You do a little bit for that, a little bit of that for free, right? For clients initially.
Mm-hmm. I do like this stage maybe, just so that I make sure like, hey, this looks like it's going to take me 40 hours versus 10 hours. So that cost for the design part is appropriate to the size of the project. But yeah. Any other questions? Okay. I think.
That's it, I think. Guys, thanks for coming out.